May 1940. Bavaria. Friedrich Kesler's hands don't shake. Not yet. Not while his men watch. He unbuckles his Luger. The leather is worn smooth from 23 years of service. Poland, France, Russia, Normandy, all of it ends with this gesture. Steel leaving leather, weight leaving hip. Around him, 2,000 men wait. Boys, really. Their faces are gaunt. Uniforms hang loose on frames that haven't seen proper food in months. They watch their general surrender and wonder if the Americans will shoot them in a Bavarian ditch. Kesler wonders the same thing, but his hands don't shake. Prussian officers don't shake, not in front of their men. An American captain approaches through the dust, young, maybe 25, muddy boots, combat infantry badge on his chest, eyes that have seen things that aged him a decade. "Your name and rank, sir." Kesler's English comes slowly, carefully. "Major General Friedrich Kesler, 3rd Panzer Division." The captain consults a clipboard, not a pistol, not handcuffs, a clipboard. And Kesler notices the captain's left hand tremors slightly against the wood, just a tremor. Then it stops. "High-value prisoner," the captain says. His voice is flat, professional. "You're going across the Atlantic, to America." Kesler's breath catches. His chest tightens, but his face remains stone. The Führer's final orders echo. No surrender. Fight to the last bullet. Death before dishonor. But Kesler had looked at his 2,000 boys. They have mothers waiting in ruined German cities, and made a different choice. Now he'll face whatever Americans do to German generals who disobey Hitler. Now his hands begin to shake. 3 years. 3 years that changed everything. 11 days on a transport ship. Kesler lies in his bunk at night. The ship groans, metal against ocean. The sound reminds him of tank treads on frozen Russian ground. He closes his eyes and sees snow, always snow, and bodies. He stops, closing his eyes. Colonel Oscar Brenner occupies the bunk above him. 3 other generals share the cabin. They speak little. What remains to say? On the 5th night, waves pitch the ship violently. Kesler's stomach lurches. He hasn't eaten since breakfast. Couldn't keep it down. The smell of vomit and diesel fuel fills the cabin. Brenner's voice comes from darkness above. "What do you think they'll do to us?" Kesler stares at the metal ceiling. Rust stains spread like blood. "If they follow Geneva Convention, prison camp until repatriation. And if they don't?" Kesler's jaw clenches. His teeth ache. "Then we deserve whatever comes." The ship groans again. Somewhere below, someone is weeping. Fort Meade, Maryland. Late May 1940. Weiler steps off the truck. His legs shake. 11 days at sea, but also something else. Fear. Real fear. Not combat fear. Something deeper. The smell hits him first. Not cordite, not diesel, not burning. Grass. Fresh-cut grass and rain-soaked earth. Spring. The camp sprawls before him, white barracks in precise rows, guard towers every 100 yards. But something is wrong. No machine guns, no searchlights. American soldiers walk casually. One smokes, another reads a paperback. Kesler's chest tightens. This isn't punishment. This is something else. Processing takes 3 hours. Medical examination. An American doctor listens to Kesler's heart, checks his teeth, writes on a chart. The doctor's hands are steady, gentle. He says nothing about the scars on Kesler's torso. Shrapnel from Kursk. Delousing follows. Cold water, Harsh soap, but thorough. Efficient, American efficiency. Uniform exchange, Wehrmacht gray replaced by American work clothes. The cotton feels strange against Kesler's skin, soft. When was the last time he wore soft fabric? An officer hands him a booklet. Camp regulations and educational program schedule. Educational program? Kesler's hands tremble as he holds the booklet. He shoves them in his pockets. That night, first night in America, Kesler lies on a steel cot. Electric lights hum overhead. Through the window, Maryland's spring smells of honeysuckle and wet earth. His hands won't stop shaking. He pulls them from under the blanket, stares at them. 47 years old, these hands commanded tank operations from Poland to Normandy. These hands signed orders that sent boys to die. These hands never shook before. They shake now. 0600 hours. Bell rings. Kesler walks to the mess hall. His legs move automatically. Muscle memory. From 23 years of military routine, the line moves slowly. American soldiers serve from behind a counter. One looks maybe 19, acne scars on his cheeks. He ladles scrambled eggs onto Kesler's tray without meeting his eyes. Real eggs, not powdered. Bacon, toast with butter, orange juice, coffee. Kesler finds a seat, sets his tray down, stares. Across from him, Colonel Brenner eats methodically. Fork to mouth, chew, swallow, fork to mouth. Kesler picks up his fork. His hand shakes. The fork rattles against the metal tray. He cuts the eggs, lifts a piece to his mouth, chews. The taste is wrong, not the food. The food is fine. The taste in his mouth is wrong. He thinks about the last time he ate eggs like this. Our poetry, officers' mess in France, while 20 kilometers away, trains carried people to camps. He swallows. The food sits heavy in his stomach. Brenner watches him. You all right, General? Kesler cuts another piece. His hand shakes harder. Fine. He's not fine. He eats anyway, because refusing to eat would be noticed, would be weak. Prussian officers aren't weak, but the eggs taste like ash, and his hands won't stop shaking. Building 7, theater, 200 seats, 0800 hours. Major Robert Harrison walks onto the stage, 40 years old, combat infantry badge, Purple Heart, Bronze Star. But something in his eyes, a distance, a flatness, that Kesler recognizes. He's seen that look in mirrors. Good morning, gentlemen. Harrison's voice is controlled, precise. I am Major Robert Harrison. For the next 3 years, this facility will be your home. Harrison pauses. His right hand grips the podium edge, knuckles white. You will study, you will read, you will watch, you will learn. What you learn will determine whether Germany has a future. He releases the podium, steps back. Lights! The film begins, black and white. Grainy, a train, cattle cars, people pressed against wooden slats, children's faces, old men, women holding infants. Kesler leans forward, his chest tightens. The camera follows the train to gates. German text, Arbeit macht frei, Auschwitz. Kesler's breathing becomes shallow, rapid. He knows about camps, labor camps, harsh conditions, high mortality, necessary measures. The film shows the platform, SS guards, families separated, doctor gesturing left, right, casual, efficient. Left means death. The camera enters a building, bodies. Kesler's vision tunnels. His hands grip the armrests. Fingernails dig into wood. Thousands of bodies. Skeletal. Piled. Eyes open. Mouths open. Children. Always children. The narrator speaks. 17,000 corpses at Bergen-Belsen, 13,000 at Dachau, over 1 million at Auschwitz-Birkenau. Gas chambers, Zyklon B, crematoria, efficiency reports, daily quotas, a child's shoe, small, red, lying in ash. Kesler's daughter wore red shoes, size 4. He stands suddenly. Chair scrapes, heads turn. He stumbles toward the aisle, vision blurring, chest crushing, can't breathe. Can't. He reaches the door, pushes through. Outside, grass, air. He vomits in the bushes beside Building 7. Vomits until his stomach is empty. Then dry heaves, body convulsing. He collapses onto the grass, hands in soil, breathing, just breathing. Behind him, the film continues. He can hear it through the walls. The narrator's flat voice listing numbers, cities, names, 6 million Jews, millions more, Poles, Soviets, Roma, displaced, political dissidents, industrial genocide. Kesler's hands dig into Maryland soil. Dirt under his fingernails. He served that, wore its uniform, followed its orders. His hands finally stop shaking. Now they're covered in vomit and dirt and American soil, and they'll never be clean again. Kesler returns to the theater an hour later. The film has ended. Officers file out. Some weep, some argue, some walk in stunned silence. Colonel Brenner catches his arm. Propaganda, Soviet lies, it has to be. It's real. Kesler's voice is hollow. You know it's real. Major Harrison stands by the entrance, watching. When Kesler passes, Harrison speaks quietly. First time I saw those camps, I vomited too. Kesler stops, looks at him. Harrison's eyes are distant. Dachau, April 29th, 1940. I was with the 45th Infantry Division. We liberated it. His jaw clenches. Liberated, that's what they call it. We didn't liberate anything. We just arrived too late for 32,000 people. His right hand tremors. He shoves it in his pocket. I killed 17 Germans that day, General. Some were surrendering, some weren't. Harrison's voice drops. I don't sleep anymore. Haven't slept right since April. But I'm here, doing this because maybe... He stops, swallows. Maybe if you understand what you served, fewer men will die next time. Harrison walks away. His gait is slightly off, favoring his left leg. Kesler stands alone in the hallway. Around him, German officers argue and deny and rationalize. He says nothing. His stomach is empty, but his mind is full. Summer 1940. Kesler attends lectures, takes notes. His handwriting changes over weeks, becomes tighter, smaller, filling margins with questions. Why didn't I ask? How didn't I see? What was I defending? He eats less. Food still tastes wrong. He loses 15 pounds in 2 months. His uniform hangs loose. At night, he lies awake, stares at ceiling, sees bodies, children's shoes, his daughter's face. Week 4. Professor David Cohen lectures on democracy. 50 years old, wire-rimmed glasses, heavy European accent under his English, German accent. After the lecture, Kesler approaches. Professor, your accent. You're German? Cohen removes his glasses, cleans them slowly. I was German. Berlin. Left, and my family stayed. He puts his glasses back on. Behind them, his eyes are infinite sadness. My mother, my father, 2 sisters, 3 nieces, all stayed. Cohen's voice is steady, clinical. All went to Treblinka in 1942. None came back. Kesler's chest tightens. Don't! Cohen's voice cuts. Don't apologize. Apologies mean nothing. What matters is what you do next. He gathers his papers, pauses. You served the machine that killed my family, General, but you're here, learning. That's more than most. Cohen looks at him. The question is, will learning be enough, or will you just rationalize and return to Germany unchanged? Cohen leaves. Kesler stands alone in the classroom. His hands shake again. He looks at them. These hands served the machine that killed Cohen's family. What matters is what you do next. November 1940, mail delivery. Kesler receives an envelope, his wife's handwriting. He stares at it for 10 minutes before opening. Dearest Friedrich, Dusseldorf is ruins. The British occupation is strict but not brutal. Food is scarce. We survive. Klaus is alive. He surrendered near Berlin. They're holding him at a camp in France. He's thin, but writes that he's well. I don't know how to write this. I've started this letter 6 times. Maria died in the bombing last February. We buried her in the garden beside the apple tree she loved. She was 9 years old. She had your eyes and my stubbornness, and she wanted to be a teacher. The bombers came at noon. She was at school. They say it was quick. The building collapsed. They say she didn't suffer. I don't believe them. I can't believe them, because if I believe them, then I have to accept that she's gone. And I can't accept that, Friedrich. I can't. When will you return? Your Elizabeth Kesler reads the letter 3 times, then walks to his bunk, sits, stares at the wall. Maria, 9 years old, red shoes, wanted to be a teacher. Colonel Brenner enters, sees Kesler's face. Bad news? Kesler folds the letter. Once, twice, 3 times. His hands are steady now, too steady, numb. My daughter died in the bombing last February. Brenner sits heavily. I'm sorry. She was 9. Kesler's voice is flat, empty. While I was commanding tank operations in France, my 9-year-old daughter died in an air raid my government provoked by starting a war of conquest. Friedrich, don't! Kesler stands. Don't rationalize. Don't say it was necessary. Don't say we were defending Germany. He walks to the window. Maryland snow falls outside, clean, white. We started this war. We brought those bombers to Dusseldorf. We chose conquest and genocide over peace. Maria is dead because of choices we made. His reflection stares back from the window, gaunt, hollow-eyed, haunted. She had my eyes, Kesler whispers, and now she's ash in a Dusseldorf garden, like those children at Auschwitz are ash. He presses his forehead against the cold glass. What have we done? December 1940, the winter deepens. Kesler stops attending lectures, stays in his bunk, stares at the ceiling. He doesn't eat. The mess hall serves Christmas dinner, turkey, stuffing, pie, and Kesler cannot force himself to go. The idea of eating while Maria lies dead makes his stomach clench. He loses more weight. His cheekbones have become prominent. Eyes sink. Major Harrison visits his bunk, stands at the foot. General, you need to eat. Kesler doesn't look at him. Why? Because starving yourself won't bring her back. Nothing will bring her back. So why eat? Why learn? Why pretend any of this matters? Harrison sits on the adjacent bunk, silent for a long moment. I have nightmares, Harrison says quietly. Every night I see Dachau. I see the people we've found, living skeletons, children with numbers tattooed on their arms, and I see the Germans I killed after. Some were surrendering. Hands up, I shot them anyway. Kesler finally looks at him. I'm here, Harrison continues, doing this education program because If I can prevent one more war, maybe those nightmares will ease. Maybe. Probably not. But maybe. He stands. Your daughter is dead. That's unfixable. But you have a choice, General. You can lie here and rot, or you can use whatever years you have left to ensure fewer fathers lose daughters in the next war. Harrison walks to the door, pauses. Choice is yours, but choose soon, because we're starting advanced seminars in January, and I need to know if you're in or out. He leaves. Kesler lies in the dark. His stomach growls. He hasn't eaten in 3 days. What matters is what you do next. Cohen's words, Harrison's choice, Maria's memory. Slowly, Kesler sits up. His head swims, vision blurs. He steadies himself, then stands, legs shaking, and walks to the mess hall. He eats, not much, bread, water. His stomach rebels, but he keeps it down because Maria would want him to eat, would want him to try, would want fewer fathers to lose daughters. He'll try, for her. July lived 2 years in captivity. The advanced leadership program is intense. Kesler has studied constitutional law, democratic theory, military ethics. He's written memorandums on civilian oversight. He's debated professors, changed, transformed. Or so he thinks. Then they bring in the witnesses, a Thursday afternoon. Building 7, a special presentation, first-hand accounts from liberation. Kesler sits in the theater, notebook ready, expecting another film, another lecture. Instead, a man walks onto the stage, 60 years old, thin, concentration camp uniform hanging on his frame, though the war ended 2 years ago, numbers tattooed on his forearm. My name is Samuel Rothstein, the man says in heavily accented English. I am from Lodz, Poland. I survived Auschwitz. He speaks for an hour, describes the selection platform, the gas chambers, the crematoria, watching his wife and 3 children march to their deaths while he was pulled into the labor line. Kesler takes notes, compulsively, filling pages, documenting, professional, detached. Then Rothstein says, the Wehrmacht was there, German soldiers guarded the trains, provided security around the camps. Some helped load bodies, some watched and did nothing. Kesler's pen stops. They knew, Rothstein continues. His voice breaks. They all knew, and they did nothing. After the presentation, Kesler returns to his bunk, sits, stares at his notes. 2 years of transformation, 2 years of learning, and in 1 hour, a survivor stripped it all away. They knew, they all knew. That night, Kesler doesn't sleep. He walks to the camp library at 0200 hours, pulls out his personnel file. Americans keep meticulous records. He reads his service history. Poland, 1913, France, 40, Russia, 1 through 40 Normandy tour. He commanded tank operations, provided logistics support, secured territory, professional, efficient, by the book. Behind his lines, camps operated. He'd seen trains, heard rumors, chose not to investigate, chose professional detachment. He closes the file. His hands shake. 2 years of learning dissolved in 1 hour of truth. Because transformation is easy in a classroom, with books and theories and abstract concepts. But facing a survivor, a man who watched his children die while German soldiers stood guard, that destroys every rationalization. Kesler returns to his bunk at 0400. Colonel Brenner is awake. Couldn't sleep either? Brenner asks. I've been lying to myself, Kesler says. His voice is hollow. All this education, all this transformation, I thought I was changing. but maybe I'm just rationalizing differently. What do you mean? I tell myself I served the Wehrmacht, not the SS, that I fought soldiers, not civilians, that I didn't know about the camps. Kesler sits heavily. But we knew, maybe not details, maybe not numbers, but we knew something monstrous was happening, and we chose not to ask questions, because asking would have required us to choose, to disobey, to risk everything. He looks at Brenner. We weren't ignorant. We were cowards, and all this education doesn't change that. Brenner is silent. So what's the point? Kesler continues. What's the point of learning if the past is unfixable, if we're irredeemable? He lies back, stares at ceiling. The question hangs. Morning. Kesler doesn't attend lectures, stays in his bunk. At 1400 hours, Professor Cohen enters the barracks. You weren't in class, General. I'm done with class. Cohen sits on the adjacent bunk. Because of yesterday's presentation? Because I've been lying to myself for 2 years. About what? About redemption, transformation, the idea that learning erases complicity. Kesler's voice is bitter. Your family died because men like me chose professional detachment over moral courage. No amount of democratic theory changes that. Cohen removes his glasses, cleans them slowly. You're right. Kesler looks at him, surprised. No amount of learning changes what you did, or failed to do. Cohen puts his glasses back on. You'll always be complicit. That guilt never leaves, never should leave. He pauses. But guilt can be two things. It can be paralysis, or it can be fuel. Fuel for what? For ensuring it never happens again. Cohen leans forward. My family is dead. Nothing brings them back. But if you, a former Wehrmacht general, can help build a German military that serves democracy instead of tyranny, maybe fewer families die next time. Maybe isn't enough. Maybe is all we have, Cohen says. The past is unfixable, but the future isn't written yet. You can choose paralysis and guilt, or you can choose action, despite guilt. He stands. Class resumes tomorrow at 0800. You don't have to come, but I hope you do, because the world needs former Wehrmacht generals willing to admit their failures and build something better. Cohen leaves. Kesler lies in darkness. Maria's face, Cohen's family, Rothstein's children, all dead because men like him chose obedience over conscience. Nothing fixes that, but maybe he can make different men, build different institutions, create a military where disobedience to criminal orders is not only allowed, but required. It won't bring back the dead, but it might save the living. At 0800 the next morning, Kesler enters the classroom, takes his seat, opens his notebook. Professor Cohen nods. Welcome back, General. Herr Kesler, he corrects. Just Herr Kesler. 1907 through 1908. Kesler throws himself into the advisory program. He writes 20-page memorandums on command structure, parliamentary oversight, training that includes ethics alongside tactics, constitutional law alongside weapons proficiency. He argues against recreating the general staff, against Prussian traditions, against everything he was trained to value. Old colleagues resist. Colonel Brenner fights every reform. You're destroying military effectiveness. Good, Kesler responds. An ineffective military can't commit genocide, but it also can't defend Germany. Then we'll defend imperfectly, because perfect defenders of criminal governments are worse than imperfect defenders of democracy. The debates rage, but Kesler doesn't back down, because every time he wants to quit, he thinks of Maria, of Cohen's family, of Rothstein's children. His guilt is permanent, but his work can be meaningful. May 48, 3 years after surrender. Kesler stands before a repatriation board, American officers, German civilian authorities from the emerging West German government. Herr Kesler, the chairman says, they've stopped using his rank. You have completed the reeducation program. You've contributed significantly to Bundeswehr planning. Are you prepared to return to Germany and implement these reforms? Kesler stands, not at attention. Citizens don't stand at attention. I am, but I have conditions. Name them. First, I work as civilian advisor only. No rank, no uniform. I cannot hold titles earned serving criminals. The chairman nods. Accepted. Second, I will never claim redemption. My past disqualifies me from honor. I work not to redeem myself, but to prevent future generals from needing redemption. Silence. Then the chairman smiles sadly. Herr Kesler, you may be the first truly democratic German military officer I've met, because you understand that in democracies, soldiers serve, they don't rule. Welcome home. The flight to Germany takes 12 hours. Same Atlantic he crossed in 1940. Different man making the return journey. Germany is ruins but rebuilding. Kesler works with Theodor Blank, former trade unionist, no military experience, to design the Bundeswehr. They fight over every detail: saluting, conscription, command structure, ethics training. General Hans Speidel, future NATO commander, argues for traditional discipline. Kesler counters. We had the most disciplined army in Europe. We use that discipline to enable genocide. I'll take a somewhat less disciplined force that respects humanity. His vision gradually prevails. November 12, 1950, the Bundeswehr officially forms. Kesler attends a ceremony in Bonn, civilian suit, simple tie. He watches young German soldiers swear their oath. I pledge to serve the Federal Republic of Germany loyally and to defend the right and freedom of the German people bravely. Service to democratic law, not leaders, not commands, law and freedom. Theodor Blank approaches. Will you continue as advisor? Kesler shakes his head. No. Younger men must lead. Men without Wehrmacht pasts. I've done what I can. What will you do? Teach, write, warn. Kesler watches the young soldiers. I'm a cautionary tale minister. Use me as such. Friedrich Kesler died in 1981. Small funeral, no military honors. He'd forbidden them. His grave in Bonn's civilian cemetery is marked by a simple stone, Friedrich Kesler, 2 to 1981. He learned too late, but he learned. On the reverse, his chosen quote, never again obedience, always conscience, 4 words, a life's reversal. The epitaph of a man who started as a Wehrmacht general and ended as democracy's cautionary tale. That lesson, learned in 3 years behind Maryland barbed wire, became the foundation of democratic Germany's military. Not redemption, never redemption, but meaning, purpose, warning, and sometimes that's enough. The Bundeswehr that Kesler helped design has served Germany for 70 years without threatening democracy. It remains one of the world's most ethically trained militaries. His warning endures. Obedience without conscience enables evil. Always conscience. Never again blind obedience.